Hello, welcome guys, and we are on the fourth game of the bishop pair advantage series. And in this game, white has the bishop pair advantage, and let's see how he uh, counters black and wins over him. And after knight f3, knight f6, c4, c5, knight c3, knight c6, d4, cd4, knight d4, and knight takes d4 and queen takes d4, g6, e4, d6, bishop e3, and bishop g7, and f3, and castle shot, and queen d2, and bishop e6, rook c1, and queen a5. By the way, the game is played between Polugavsky and Ivokov. Uh, I think it's Ivkov in Belgrade in 1969, and in the this is the Marozzi system, and it is traditionally enjoys the white enjoys here slightly better position due to space advantage, but in return black hopes to organize an initiative on the queen side. The next move leads to pawn symmetry and actually turns the queen side into the white's playground. The powerful bishops will thrive there. This move is one of the few logical possibilities here. Knight d5, and after queen takes d2, king takes d2, bishop takes d5. With this move, black hopes to carry out queenside play on the dark squares, and if possible to transfer the game into an endgame with black's knight against white's light squared bishop. However, it is very risky decision to play against the powerful bishop pair. Here rook a e8 is playable, but definitely looks dull. The a7 pawn is without protection, and there is even the option of knight c7 capturing the pair of bishops. So, but then if knight takes d5, it can be considered, although after c takes d5, bishop c8 and b3, white definitely looks better here. So black gives away his bishop pair, c takes d5, and here e takes d5 will lead to a completely different pattern. Whites get some pressure on e7, but black gets more control of the important outpost on c5. So it is best to take with the c pawn. C takes d5, and after rook fc8, bishop e2, a6, b4. With centralized pieces, a completed development, and an activated king, white immediately launches his pawn attack on the queen side. In positions with the bishop pair advantage, one very logical approach is to gain space. And king f8, a4, bishop knight d7, and a5. This is an excellent move that advanced players would execute without calculating a thing. There is nothing to calculate. Having the bishop pair advantage, it is useful to put your pawns on the opponent's bishop color. This way, the pawns successfully restrict the activity of the opponent's minor pieces. Furthermore, the opponent's pawns are fixed on our bishop's color, which will make them harder to protect. Hence, the a6 and b7 pawns are fixed and will later be weak and attacked. Bishop b2, rook c2, and rook takes c2, king takes c2, bishop g7, king b3, rook c8, bishop d2. Rook c1 also can be played, but still this move is much better. The point is to stop black's counterplay. While the rooks can be exchanged at any time, it is natural, by the way, to keep as many pieces as possible in positions where one has space advantage. Bishop d4. Knowing the rest of the game, black should have tried e6 here, attempting to change the character of the game. Of course, opening the position is in white's favor, but a waiting strategy is not a good option here. So bishop, after bishop d4, there is g4. And here the pawn will be pushed to g5, and the black's knight will feel less comfortable. And after king g7, g5, instead of king g7, black himself should have played g5, but then white plays g5, then now rook c7 and rook d1, king f8, f4, and bishop g7 and bishop g4. The point of white's pawn setup is evident. Black's pieces are cramped, and it is no wonder that white wins the game convincingly. King e8, rook f1. This rook eyes the f7 pawn. In case of advancing either e or f pawn, that could be useful. Bishop d4, h4. But while f7 is still protected, white improves his chances on the king side. Even the h pawn joins the assault. Bishop g7, h5, bishop d4, rook h1, and rook. The idea is to penetrate via the h file. Bishop g7, rook rook h3. White tenaciously improves his position. It is instructive to see how the white player creates threats on various files and forces black to play accurately. King f8, and now black makes a mistake. Here knight f8 was a more precise move, but of course it is not easy to understand all the nuances during the game. So h6, bishop d4, rook d3, rook bishop a7, bishop h3, bishop g1, bishop c3, king e8. White sets the scene for the decisive strike. Now e5, bishop h2. Here if d takes e5, then f takes e5 with very dangerous d and e pawns. So after bishop h2, there is e takes d6, e takes d6, rook e3 check, king d8, rook e4, and bishop g1, and here the computer shows rook e4. If at all f5 is played, if g takes this, then rook c3 check, then okay, then this comes. Okay, game would have gone like that, but black didn't put f5. He went for bishop g1, then now bishop takes d7, and here another important principle of the bishop pair advantage has come into play: the possibility to exchange one of the bishops in order to simplify the position and convert to a winning endgame. So here after bishop takes d7, black resigned because the rook will penetrate into the black's camp. A very important and instructive game which explores very typical pawn structures which can arise from many different openings. The game perfectly illustrates the convenience of the pair of bishops. So after this the game could have gone after king takes d7. There is bishop here and this and that there. Okay. Okay, this also can be coming, and if at all this is played, and it is also blunder. So here if it takes with the rook, then bishop check, and after king c7 there is this penetration, and after that this can be played. What? No. But on the display, okay, that is not over here. And rook h8 comes, and black is losing. So because of this, after bishop takes d7, the black resigned here. Okay, guys, I'll meet you in the next game with the same concept. Thank you all.